More than 1 million people attended college in this state but left before earning their degree. And now the UNC system is trying to get people back in the classroom and help them graduate. Now the UNC system is partnering with Re-Up Education, a company trying to re-enroll people back in school. Students who join the program will get coaching to help them graduate. And the hope is that if students graduate here, they'll stay here and build the state's workforce. The UNC system is made up of 10 schools throughout the state, including here at home at UNCW. And North Carolina leaders say the state needs to give better access to affordable child care. Right now, Governor Josh Stein's Child Care Task Force says the average cost of child care in the state is more than college tuition. The governor's task force released a list of recommendations in order to combat the cost of child care. Some of the solutions include statewide minimum reimbursements for providers offering services to low-income families. They want to explore partnerships with the UNC system and kindergarten through 12th grade schools to provide child care to employees and students. And they want to look at free child care for teachers. The task force will look at all the options and give a final report at the end of the year.